Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Babeology podcast. I'm your host, Gabby. If you're new here, then welcome. And if you've been following me, then welcome back. And thanks for supporting me and watching and listening from wherever you are. I appreciate you guys always. Um, I'm back with another episode, clearly, and I'm talking really low because I don't want to be too loud. I'm in the studio during working hours. So we're going to do this at an ASMR. Just kidding. This episode though is going to be mainly on Brazilian wax products, not so much on tips. I mean, there will be some helpful information, but it's mostly on like the products and aftercare, maybe stuff that we can get into. And it kind of bounces off of the previous episodes that I uploaded, which were about kind of like the scammy, overhyped kind of lies that we buy in products in the beauty industry, and especially as estheticians. So starting off, this will all be Brazilian wax based. So this is all just Brazilian wax info, products, stuff like that. So starting off, well, number one, I kind of wrote my little list down. So number one, which I get questions a lot about, is waxing at home. And some people will say they'll wax at home, which if you know how and you've gotten used to it, perfect. But I would never suggest waxing yourself at home if you're not sure what you're doing because you're going to waste your product. And then also, it freaking hurts. So it's very painful. You are ripping your hair out of your body. So wouldn't recommend doing it if you're not used to it. But if you have experience waxing yourself and it works for you, I never would tell you not to. So that would have been my first one on my list, and that's because somebody had asked me if they recommend any at-home waxing kits. But for somebody who has no experience waxing themselves at home, I would say just maybe just don't do it. Um, and also the at-home waxing kits, and nothing against them. Like I wasn't even planning on putting this in here, but someone just brought it up to me. But some of them are only made for like your brows, facial hair, thin hair, vellus hair, not which would be like really, really fuzzy hair, what we would consider peach fuzz. It wouldn't really be for, let's say, like your bikini line or your Brazilian, definitely not your Brazilian or your legs, because it won't really pick up and it's going to break your hairs, and then that can lead to ingrown hairs, which is a whole nother thing. So that's my little take on waxing kits at home. But if you're used to them, you know how to use them, and you've been okay with them, like definitely do your thing and save those coins. Okay, so the main juicy body here in this podcast for me was more about the pre and post wax products because I kind of same thing with like skincare for your face. I just feel like I don't ever want to make somebody feel bad about believing in a product, or they heard of a product, or somebody gifted them a product because it costs money. Like these products are expensive, whether it be for aftercare at home or like just your regular hygienic stuff that you use, and you're hoping that it works if you try it out. So I don't want anyone to feel like their stuff doesn't work, because maybe it does do something for you, but as an esthetician and a waxer, there's just certain things I wouldn't recommend that you spend your money on because you probably don't need it. So I'm gonna just start off with like pre-wax products, and I have my list, so I wrote some stuff down. Um, Pre-wax products are necessary if you're a waxer, um, to an extent. You don't need to do all this stuff to prep the skin besides thoroughly just wipe it down and cleanse it if you're a waxer. And if you're an experienced waxer, you kind of know what works for you, I'm sure. But if you're not and you're beginning, don't spend a lot of money on pre and post wax care, because I'll break it down for you later, but you really don't need a lot of it. So, pre wax products necessary, but to an extent. Like I said, you would only really need a cleanser And what I mean by you only need a cleanser, it's not a cleanser like you're thinking. You just need a cleansing liquid, which most of the time, in most cases, in most rooms, you could you can get away with just using a micellar water because that's really gentle. It's not going to have any alcohol really or fragrance or anything crazy like that. And you can pretty much prep the skin without causing any kind of irritation in advance to the wax because waxing is already traumatic enough to the skin. And you don't want to cause the aggravation before you even apply the wax on because some people are really that sensitive. So I try to keep that in mind along the way because it's not really a one size fits all for waxing. You kind of have to really know your skin type and your skin elasticity. And as a seasoned waxer, you start to learn which skin can tolerate certain temperatures, certain passes. Um, some people might not be good with waxing. You might have to just do like the bare minimum and collect the rest of whatever they need done. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. But pre-wax, you don't want to get too crazy. I literally, when I started out, would buy everything that I saw, and I spent so much money and didn't love a lot of it. So when I started out and I was in school, I was using um, Satin Smooth, and I was using Satin Smooth pre and post. And they do give you like a big amount in a bottle, but the bottles are not super cheap. I don't know the exact prices of the bottles, but they are not super cheap or affordable if you, let's say, use too much. Like if you get product happy and you pump too much, like I do sometimes, I forget like, oh shit, this actually costs money. Um, I'm sorry, like my train of thought is everywhere, but because I have so much I want to say, but yes, so you could definitely not, you don't have to use what I'm recommending. You could buy what you're used to if that's what you like, but you don't have to. You don't have to use those type of products. So if you're in school or if you just graduated and you're used to using like a satin smooth pre-wax or a post-wax, there are other options out there in the industry, but they are going to be a little bit higher in price point because they're specifically made for waxers or estheticians, but it's really the same stuff. Like you could literally use a micellar water. That's what I use now. It's a gentle cleansing water, and it's basically a micellar water. And I get it on Amazon. It's been great. It's only $11. I believe it's $11, and then I think you can get like a bigger bottle maybe for 20 bucks, something like that. But it's on Amazon, and I forget the brand name that I get. Maybe I can insert it in the YouTube video because I'm gonna upload this. But yes, I switched over a long time ago. I don't buy and spend money on specific niche products like a pre-wax cleanser. No, I just use a micellar water and I'm able to use that to cleanse any area of the body. I've not had anybody with a reaction to it. Some people do have sensitivities to the fragrance that is in the pre-wax solutions, and those sometimes have alcohols in them. They have color in them. They can be a little aggressive starting right off in the beginning of the appointment. So that's one thing I noticed. And I also love that this is like such a cheaper alternative. Like you don't need to spend all that money on just because it says it's for waxers, which I mean, I don't want to tell anybody not to buy from certain companies or not to buy certain products. But if you're trying to save a dollar, especially in this economy, and you really get down to fundamentals or like basics of skin, like just because it says pre-wax cleanser doesn't mean that you have to buy it. So that's the only thing that's gonna work. You could literally use like water if that's what you can afford, as long as you're doing the steps. Um, I use micellar water. So pre-wax cleanser, that's like a big one for me. I feel like a lot of people do waste their money on stuff because maybe it looks aesthetic, or maybe they just feel like they're not doing something correctly, because that's how I felt at first when I started out, if they're not using specific products because they see a lot of other people using them. So yes, that I won't rant too much about, but that's that, the pre-wax products. And then, so there's also these things like some people will use like, which I don't ever want to say don't be as safe as you can, but like some people will use like a bunch of different like little tools. Like they'll use like a silicone brush or like a brush, a brow silicone exfoliator. Like You don't need all that stuff. Some simple cotton wipes, cotton swabs, cotton pads, cotton rounds. You can find those on Amazon. You can find them even at the dollar store. Like I said, like in this economy, use the basics, but it's still you're gonna get your result because that's your results are not coming from the product pre or post. Um, okay, that's one thing. And then let's see. Also for powder, same thing. You don't need to use like I used to think, oh my God, like I have to use the GG waxing, the powder that they have. I would always use that powder, and then I moved on to a different powder that was a little more like luxurious, but it's like the same shit. Like just literally buy a big bottle if you're a waxer, you go through powder probably a lot. I do because I sweat a lot, so I make sure to coat my girls' cheeks in powder so that by the time I come to the back, I just wipe down. And it does get crumbly sometimes if you do too much powder, but I just wipe down everything and they're back to dry. So, and they don't feel like a sweaty mess. I use regular like Walmart powder, or even Amazon has their own brand of powder now, Target, whatever. You don't need a fancy powder or anything like that. If you want it to be aesthetic, I literally have my powder inside of a little black. I'll show you. If you're watching the video, you'll see. But I have my powder in one of these and I just refill it. The top is broken. I just refill it and I keep it out so that the big ass bottle of powder is not always hanging around, which right now it is, but I don't really care because I had full days of waxing where I'm constantly using it. So, um, that would be the next step. I would say just use regular powder. You don't need to have a brand name. If you want it to be aesthetic, you can always repackage your stuff in different little bottles. Okay, moving on. Moving on to the main part as a waxer, and if you're starting out, this is really important. I'm not going to get too far into it, but okay, before I get into that, actually, one more thing. Numbing creams. I don't use numbing creams, and I don't recommend you using a numbing cream if you are starting out waxing or if you are a waxer thinking of it. That's just my take. And if you get waxes and you're listening as a client, I would not recommend you ever doing a numbing cream because if you're that sensitive to a wax, I would say you probably are not a good candidate because your skin is really sensitive, whether it be to the warmth, the temperature, or the pulling. If you're that sensitive, that means that your skin is telling you this is not good. A quick pull, a quick pain is fine, but it's just that's a sacrifice we do to have no hair and to be bald girlies. So, no numbing cream for me. I've had people ask me if they can use numbing cream or if I have any or if they bring some, should they put it on? But I will 100% always say no numbing cream because, for one, it can cause irritation with the wax. And then for two, if you're feeling something, I need to know because that's telling me your skin's reacting and you're not going to feel 100% of that because you just numbed yourself. So I would rather you feel it now and let me know than later be like, oh my God, my skin's like freaking peeling or like lifting or scabbing because you didn't feel that during the wax. So, which thank God, like that has never happened. But no numbing cream over here. I will not allow numbing cream. I'm so sorry. So, if the wax is too much for you, I will literally just be like, maybe you shouldn't finish the wax. So, aside from that, what I was going to get into was actual wax brands. And this came a lot from me trying out different waxes, really, because there's a lot on the market now. When I first started, I think I came in right before the peak of like everyone wants to make their own wax brand. So it was just satin smooth. GG wax was the soft wax that like they give you, and that's like what you would think, oh, I should just keep using this. But that's what they give you coming out of school. So satin smooth, GG wax, Pill is decent if you're in a pinch. What else? Star Pill was making its name when I came out. They were about to be like popping. So those were the only mainstream waxes. I'm trying to think if there were any other ones, but there really weren't. And then came like the Nova wax and then mermaid wax and so on, whatever. Like all of these fancy schmancy waxes that are at a really high price point. Um, and they really don't need to be. I mean, maybe the quality is amazing in their eyes and it costs a lot to formulate whatever, but wax is wax. And yes, while there are different types of waxes, they're essentially doing the same thing if you're doing it correctly. But some of them do grab more hair, some of them are a little more flexible, some of them are a little more drying. So, yes, there are some differences, but like if you can afford what you can afford and you're doing a great job at being thorough, like as a waxer, don't worry about spending money on all the fancy waxes because I've done it. And when you don't know your cost of product, like your margins, which I still 100% need to, I'm not on it. Like I need to reassess now that we're like in more expensive days, more expensive times. The last time I really reassessed was like maybe last year. So comparing your costs to like what you're profiting is a really big deal because you could literally be making nothing and you wouldn't know if you're spending all this money on like the fancy products and you're not really keeping an eye on what you're actually making back. So like if you're using a massive amount of sticks, the stick shouldn't cost you more than like I don't know how much, maybe like 5 cents I think, because I buy mine in such a big bulk. And it could be less than that because I buy in a huge bulk and I buy my sticks from Black Coral. So I usually will buy like 2, 3 boxes at a time, keep them in my stock cabinets, whatever. And then wax. Your wax is obviously sold per pound. So I don't usually want to pay more than $10, $11 per pound. So I will try to buy in as much bulk as I can, but that does add up. It gets really pricey. So depending on who you buy from, their pricing will be different. There are a lot of brands now. There's so many brands out there. But like I said, if you can afford what you can afford, as long as you know that the wax is not like a piece of crap and it's doing what it needs to do, taking the majority of the hair off, there's always tweezing. Um, if you're starting out, if you're a seasoned waxer and you're looking for like good waxes, I've tried so many. There's so many that I have not tried, but I will just tell you right off the bat, like the favorites that I will keep ordering from. Number one is my Wax Press. Like I will keep ordering from Wax Press. They're an Australian-based wax company and they have great pricing. A lot of people don't really know about them, but I have had no issues. I used to order eye candy and it's called Storm or Stormy, something like that. So there's a blue wax. It's more of like a hard cream wax. In my opinion, the eye candy is like a very, very flexible gel wax. You can use it on pretty much any part of the body because it does grip really well. It doesn't have really like a ton of fragrance or glitter or anything like that. It has a light scent of like maybe like nectarine. So it doesn't smell bad. Some waxes smell like straight ass, like straight up chemicals. But that's a wax for you. Like it's just gonna have a scent. So some of them do have like fragrance in them. I don't love that because some people are really allergic or react easily to fragrance. But yes, that's my take on like waxes. I wouldn't spend a ton if you're starting out and if you are looking for new waxes. Like I said, Wax Press, that's number one. Waxness, that's number two, and they have so many. But the one that I really loved recently was coconut. Was it coconut pearl? It smells really good. And I don't, like I said, I don't care for the smells, but that one I remember like I'm using it right now. Like that's how good it smelled, and it picked up so well mixed with my eye candy. Like those were matches, like matches together. And I need to go get another bag of the coconut pearl. But yes, I believe that was from Waxness. I want to say I'm 100% sure. There's also the Royal Pearl, also Waxness. I'm like freaking butchering these names because there's so many. And I only remember the textures of them. I don't really go off of the name and like the colors. That one was also like another creamy white pearly color, but I think that one was called Royal Pearl. I want to say white pearl. No, it's not white. Royal Pearl. I'll insert the pictures of the waxes on the YouTube video. So if you're listening through just podcasts or Apple or Spotify, I'm so sorry. Like, definitely watch the video and I will insert pictures of the products that I'm talking about here. So that's Wax Press number one, Wax Nest number two. They have different ones. Like I said, Aura was my go to for a little while. I don't know why I kind of like stepped away. I think the price is a little high on Aura, and for like what it does, it's just not giving the price. Like it is so good. It's such a good wax, but if you know what I mean, like I'd rather get more bulk of wax than just stick to that one wax. I don't know. it is worth a try, or it's worth mixing into another wax if you have like your favorite. But Aura from Waxness, the coconut pearl, and then the royal white pearl. I believe it's called white pearl. But yes, like I said, I'll insert the picture. So those from Waxness are my favorites. I did try Pacific Wax Co., I think it's called. I wasn't in love. I didn't try all of them. I tried two. I tried La Jolla, and then I think I tried, was it Venice? Wasn't a huge fan, but I will definitely keep an open mind and try other ones because I've been seeing them pop up a lot more, and I don't want to say that they are not a good option if I haven't tried all of them, but those two were not my favorite. La Jolla, Venice, not my faves. The color, the packaging is cute. It's pretty simple. What else? I'll do another episode just on waxes, but yes, just to say that if you can afford, even if you just buy smaller samples of like the waxes that you would want to try, just do that. But there's so many waxes. There's so many waxes. This is kind of going into a different episode now, but different topics. But there's no like luxury wax. There's no like it's wax. Wax is wax. Yes, it's priced differently. Some of them have glitter in it, some of them don't. Some of them smell different, some of them don't. It's really just cream, gel, soft, hard wax, like simple. Does it work? Does it pull the hair off? That's all you need to know. So don't go crazy off of all these like, oh, this is the best wax for waxers, for Brazilians, for back hair, for eyebrow hair. If it's a good wax and it takes the hair off and you don't have a ton of hair left over to tweeze, then that's, and it didn't cost you an arm and a leg, then build off of there. But there's just too many waxes and they're not all, it's not as crazy as overwhelming as it seems. It's just they're all packaged differently. Some of them are private labeled from waxes, some of them are private labeled from other companies. They're just repackaging it. So that's my thing on wax. That's my rant. Let's move on to post waxing products. So I do want to get into post wax a little bit more than the other stuff because this is where I kind of run into issues and like kind of just feel bad for my clients because I used to retail fur in here just to get into that. Like I used to retail fur in here for professionals. If you've tried fur and you loved it, it is a good brand. If you didn't like it, I could see why. I never really 100% loved it, but it was a good option to display in here and to have people kind of put their attention onto something to take home rather than be like, oh, I'll just order something on Amazon because most of the time you won't. So, or your clients won't. But the things that I would have in here retail were the fur oil. It's like a all over moisturizing oil. The fur concentrate, which same shit. It was just a different type of oil, and they sold it at a really high price point. And then they had the salicylic serum, which I do feel like is a good serum, but it just doesn't perform at the price point that they have it at. It's more just the packaging. That whole brand, I feel like, is more of an aesthetic and more of an idea. Like, you should moisturize your body. You should use an oil on specifically on your bikini area. You should focus on avoiding ingrowns. There is a serum that gives you the idea of like, well, I'm doing something that has salicylic acid, but I would not solely rely on those type of brands like Bush Balm. I was never a fan of Bush Balm. If you were, I'm so sorry, but I just was never into it. Now seeing their downfall, I'm glad. And I'm not glad they're having a downfall. That's not what I'm going to say, but I'm glad I never invested in it or went for the bait there. But I know that they had good products because some of my waxing friends have definitely um, stuck to them and were loyal to them. But I know that they're now more retail. They're not solely for waxers or professionals, which is really disappointing because a lot of companies will go for the money instead of loyalty to the professionals, which is why they got their start. And that's just a fact about a lot of these skincare brands. But um, I never was a fan. So, and there was no specific reason. I don't know what it was. I just was never turned on to Bush Balm. And then there's also like now there's Waxness. They came out with a lot of their stuff and it's mostly like a lot of dupes to what's already out. They have like their oil, they have their jelly masks. Their jelly masks are bomb. I will say you don't need it, but it is nice to have. Um what other brands are there? Every brand has their stuff. Lady Pang has her stuff. I heard her stuff is good. I have not tried it. What else? There's other little brands out there now that are coming up. There's so much on the market. Well, with all that to say, don't fall into like the overwhelming pit of just like all these brands and products marketing to you. You don't need all of that. And half of the stuff I used to retail in here, I literally don't carry anymore because I don't need it. And I've seen more results from other stuff. And I haven't had to spend all that money just on like aftercare to retail because it does take some sales like to sell it because some people are like, what does it do though? They're not sold within the like 3 minutes that I'm trying to explain it to them. And I'm not really trying to sell anybody. It's like just to get you to get home with something to take care of your skin. And that's why I say like it's more for them to have something to take home. It's not that I specifically want them to buy like, oh, you need this fur oil. No, I don't really care if they buy the fur oil. I'm not even really a huge fan because it's so expensive for what it really is. But coming into it, that's a good starting point, like to go off of those companies that are specifically for certain things, because then you kind of know and navigate your clients like, well, this brand is for ingrown hairs, has salicylic acid, but then that turns into like more knowledge down the road, and you're like, well, if that has salicylic acid, there's other stuff with salicylic acid that would actually probably help like within a few days. And then same thing, like, well, that has vitamin E. Vitamin E, I could probably just package some vitamin E, give it to them. That's what I've done now because that saves you money, really, and then it saves them money, and then they trust you, and you're not just selling them on some like fucking packaging. Sorry, excuse my language, but you're not selling them on some packaging and a hope and a dream, and it's like $80. So my thing is, what I do now is I will buy oil. I'll buy vitamin E, jojoba, and my favorite oil that I found now on Amazon. I put it into little bottles, and I give it to them in a little aftercare box and let them try that or have something at least for the few days that they're gonna order something. But I will send my clients home with an oil if they don't have anything, and I also would buy a bulk pack of exfoliating gloves because also buying some exfoliating gloves to retail are like ridiculous. Like you literally can I bought a whole pack for like $25 and it came with a bunch of exfoliating gloves. I don't really know the quantity. I think it was like 40 pairs or something. It was so cheap compared to like what you would have bought to retail something else. Anyway, yes, I got exfoliating gloves off of Amazon. I got the oils off of Amazon. Pure oils, 100% jojoba. You can get castor, vitamin E, whatever. And you could use just one oil. Like I always say, just do vitamin E. Usually everyone's okay with vitamin E. Do jojoba, anything like that. It's gonna be way cheaper. You can get a big ass bottle for like $20 and you can just put it into little tiny bottles. You can sell it or you can give them away. If you want to retail something, you can literally package them and retail them for like $5 each. That beats paying $30 for a bottle of oil that they probably might not use, or maybe it's not doing anything for them. um, so yeah, don't spend crazy money on aftercare. You don't need to. I feel bad when my clients come in and they're like, oh well, I just bought the roller Brazilian serum from Ulta or whatever, like it was $40. Like you don't need to spend all that money on stuff. You don't. And you don't need to retail all that stuff to your clients because it's so expensive, and if it sits on your shelf, it's sitting on your shelf. So that's what I do for the oils, and I'm probably rambling. Like there's just so much in my brain because I'm trying to think of everything, but for the oil, that's one thing. Okay, when it comes to ingrown hairs, there are no products that are going to solve your ingrown hair problems. Like when these products are talking about like fur, okay? No shade to fur at all. Like they were good to me when I started out, but I definitely don't ever recommend fur because it's so expensive and it's almost like just greedy. I don't know. I just feel like if you were trying to solve a problem, like make sure that it's actually solving the problem and then price it at the price point that you know you can charge. But it's like they came out really strong for the pros and it was affordable. They would give a lot of freebies, whatever. I get it. They're building up their brand now to customers, consumers, not just professionals. So that's why they're a little more expensive now. They don't they don't need us no more. But like the ingrown price point that you know you can charge. But it's like they came out really strong for the pros and it was affordable. They would give a lot of freebies, whatever. I get it. They're building up their brand now to customers, consumers, not just professionals. So that's why they're a little more expensive now. They don't they don't need us no more. But like the ingrown hair serum, that ain't really doing shit. Like it's more just like you're having the ingredients in your hand. You have something to do at home to take care of ingrown hairs or like it's just a step, but it's not effective, is what I'm trying to say. So, what I would say to replace an ingrown hair that claims it's gonna eliminate your ingrown hairs, it's nothing's gonna eliminate them besides consistency and just at home care. Like it has to be consistent. And also, some people's hair just grows at a certain angle and they are just prone to ingrown hairs or textures. Certain textures don't come through the follicles all the way and it causes ingrown hairs. But, um, my go-to, I'm sorry, I'm trying to like stay on track. My go-to is Skin Script toner pads, okay? Those are your lifeline. If your clients can tolerate them, and this is my thing, if it works on your face, it's gonna work on any part of your body because your face is really delicate and sensitive. Your body's exposed, okay? So there a lot of people don't think about it that way. Your skin is so delicate, sensitive, it's thin. That's where we have all of our products going, but why can't you use that anywhere else? And that's my thing. That's where I kind of it clicked for me a couple of years ago where I was like, wait a second, why am I buying all this stuff? Like I literally have stuff for my face and I'm retailing a whole other product line just for waxing. Like doesn't make any sense. So of course like lotion, stuff like that, you can't use the same on your face and on your body, but in terms of like sensitive or gentleness for products, if you're gentle enough for your face, it's gentle enough for your body. So, um, and with caution though, because you can't just use a moisturizer that you're using on your face for your bikini or your Brazilian because it could clog your pores because that skin is a little bit different and absorbs product a little bit differently. So, um, and the hair type is different. The follicles are different. We have vellus hair on our face. We do not have vellus hair on our bikini or Brazilian. At least I don't. Maybe some people do. But that's why I say that when it comes to thicker, like a thicker, what do they call it? Viscosities or textures, stuff like that. If you know what I'm saying, hopefully it makes sense. So, um, let me get back on track. My mind is, my mind has been a mess. So, yes, ingrown hairs. Toner pads, those are my go-to. And ever since I put my girls on them, I have not had one person who hasn't had a result or improvement from the toner pads. Like those, SkinScript has done their thing with the toner pads. The not the glycolic retinol, but the clarifying toner pads. Those are like I will always forever have those in here because if there's somebody that's like I just don't know what to do with my skin, I'm having ingrowns, I'm having breakouts, like everything is just a mess down here, I will immediately like if they're not allergic to any of the ingredients in there, which it has tea tree, I believe it has maybe glycolic and salicylic acid. For sure tea tree salicylic it does have. If they're not sensitive to those ingredients, definitely try it. And even if they might think like, oh, I have sensitive skin, they are not aggressive at all. They're really gentle. So I always say try it once a week. If you don't see any kind of irritation, then go on to 2 times a week. Never do like every day though, because then you're going to dry out your skin. Same thing happens with your face. If you overdo it, you can cause a barrier issue and then breakouts. So once or twice a week, that's all you need. As long as you're getting those dead skin cells off and the oils and everything else off of the skin, that's the main goal. And this is how I've been able to help girls improve with ingrown hairs because I've had some clients that have ingrown hairs like crazy, and that's the only thing that has helped is the toner pads. So toner pads are my go-to. That's my number one girl. And then, like I said, I kind of buy and not formulate, but mix up my own oils. It's always natural, 100% vitamin E, jojoba, or you can do what is it called? Sunflower seed oil, I want to say. Grapeseed, sorry, grapeseed. grapeseed, jojoba, vitamin E. Those are the go-tos for me for my aftercare. What I recommend to people if they're allergic to anyone, at least there's three different ones to choose from. My favorite though, number one, is always going to be vitamin E, then jojoba. Then if they like, oh, I'm allergic or something like that, then try grapeseed oil. Um, and of course, there are different ingredients you could probably use on your skin, but to keep it literally like simple, because there are some people that will do a bare minimum because they don't have time or they just don't have the patience. Um, Another thing is like the cooling post wax, like creams or serums. It's all BS. Like it's all BS. It's all BS. It's all BS. Like it's not real. It's not real. It's just stuff to put on your skin. Unless it's an actual formulated with proven results, it's had proof that you can see. Like that's why I say the skincare for me is the go-to. They're priced exactly the same almost. That shit's expensive. Post care is expensive. Why not just invest it in the skincare products that you could literally use on your face? So next, from the oil and the salicylic, whatever, that you don't even have to use salicylic if you're allergic, but the toner pads, excuse me. And if you can't do toner pads, glycolic, mandelic, lactic, there are other things that you can use that you literally would recommend or prescribe to somebody for their face. They can also use it in their intimate areas. Brightening is another thing. There's no such thing as a brightening serum for your Brazilian. I don't think a Brazilian wax company or Brazilian wax products company should even be selling you unless there's proven scientific results from the formulation that it has brightened people's skin. And there's a company that I used to really want it to work, and I tried it out. I bought some of their stuff from their kit. I didn't buy the entire kit. I don't even want to say, because if somebody uses it and maybe they've seen some results, then maybe it was just me. But it's marketed as like a bleaching brightening company. All their stuff is kind of high priced, and it just didn't do anything for me. Like my clients didn't see any kind of improvements. Their skin was hydrated, and I slapped some products on and did like a treatment or two on them, and maybe got some of the dead skin off. The pigmentation lifted up a little, but it was nothing like where I was astonished and was like, oh my God, this stuff is like brightening your skin like crazy. So anything brightening, if it's formulated as a brightening, like intimate brightening serum, this, that, or whatever, just stick to your basics. Like do either a glycolic, a mandelic, a lactic. Those will do enough. Those are the basics. Those are the base of those ingredients. Licorice extract, if you need something more gentle, berberry extract, stuff like that. And I don't want to say all of it doesn't work, but I'm saying the effectiveness, is that a right word? Yeah. Um, of you spending your money. Like, okay, let's get the most. So then invest in like the glycolic liquid from The Ordinary, because at least you're getting a whole liquid and you know that it's straight to the point. It's glycolic acid. Start off very minimal, 2 times a week. The basics. It's not super expensive. But you don't need to go and spend like $30 on a brightening serum, Brazilian intimate area brightening serum. It's not doing anything. Um, I'm going on a rant because I've spent so much money. Like, I've spent so much money. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't worked. There's a lot of stuff that's sat on my shelf. There's a lot of stuff I try to retail, and they will sell, 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 sell to you. Literally, they will keep selling to you. So you kind of have to jump outside and be like, wait, hold on. How do I save money? How do I give people what they really need so that they still have that trust in you too? Because if you keep selling, I was just telling somebody this, if you keep selling stuff to people and they trust you and they're like, well, her waxes are good. She told me to use this and it doesn't work. Like you just lose that reputation, that reputable, like the value of your advice. Because then now when you recommend something and you might know, like, no, this shit works, they'll be like, the last time you told me, because I've had girls say that, well, like the toner pads you gave me, like they haven't worked. But I'm like, how often do you use them? Oh, like once every month. Like, girl, it needs to be consistent. We need to be, or like I used it every day. My skin got so dry. Like, well, yeah, you're not supposed to use it every single day. So, what else? I think that covers most of it. Like, I went on a little rant. Oh, and I want to throw this in there, hypochlorous acid, because it's pissing me off. not the hypochlorous acid, but the brands that are selling this, it's literally a formulated like chlorine water. There are brands that are selling this for like 40, 50, $60. The only one I would pay like a little more for is the Hydrinity because I know that that one does come with quality, but like $30 for hypochlorous acid. Girl, I buy on Amazon. It's a chunky little bottle. It's called Smart. I'll show you if you're watching the video again. Um, we don't need to spend $30 on some hypochlorous acid though. I use this one. Skin Smart Antimicrobial Facial Cleanser. Again, it says facial cleanser, but I do use this on for dermaplaning, only for dermaplaning when I'm doing facials, but I use this mainly on my Brazilian waxes. And for the girls who are very ingrown prone, sensitive skin, very red, tender, I will use this. And this has saved me in so many situations. Because some people that are very ingrown prone, I spray this, let it dry. This cost me like $12 maybe. Don't spend $30. Do your research, like don't just buy whatever people are telling you to buy. I'm over here showing you something. No, but it's cheaper. Fin Pill, another one, worth the price. There are other soothing. This one says it soothes. This is a must if you're new to waxing and you don't know what to use on your clients if they're having a reaction or if they're really red, if they're really tender, if they are very ingrown prone. You can use hypochlorous acid. That's bomb, but I would also carry this. It's an antiseptic cream if they have breakouts a lot, like this is just a must. This is soothing. It helps to avoid any irritation once they put their undies back on, if they're going to the gym, if they just came from the gym, like this is good to have. So, your sensitive girls, your sensitive clients, you need to have this for them. There are some people that I cannot use post wax oil on, whether it be 100% vitamin E, whatever it is, pure single ingredients. Sometimes they are just so sensitive. I will use this because it's very lightweight, soothing. The texture of it's literally like silky thin. Um, but yeah, save your money. I don't want to say don't buy from these companies, but I do want to say that they're priced to make their money. It's a business. They are all about their money. A lot of them don't care if you had a breakout reaction or if you spent your money and it didn't work for you. They don't give a crap. So that's my little rant on products. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Don't fall for all the scams. Do your research. And now there's so many resources where you can literally compare products. TikTok is a main source for me when I'm really interested in like seeing how many people really use a product and it worked for them. I will go on there and look at people's review, like their videos. Just do your research before you go and spend a bunch of money on stuff or retail stuff or buy it just for yourself. Like there's alternatives usually, and usually there's something that you can buy that looks more generic, that's not going to be in a cute packaging, but it works and gets the job done. Like there's literally a hypochlorous acid at Walgreens. That's where I originally found the cheaper option. It was $10, but it's kind of smaller, so that's why I went for the smart, whatever that's called, the smart spray or whatever. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't rant or mumble or rumble or whatever too much. I was trying to get to the point, but my brain is all over the place. And like always, like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And I appreciate your support. Thank you so much for tuning into another one. I will talk to you next time. Bye.